Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports.
You're like a circle that floats around me.
Team here, you all in the comments, let me know what you all think. Poke some holes, right? Losh, size, he's much. Guys, thanks for watching. Losh. All right, time to go. Please tell the people the team that you back to, please.
Well, I can show you. That one right there.
God. I'm going to edit that out in post, right?
Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion. We go live in 10. Number 9.
8. Yo! 7.
Number 6.
5.
Entry. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion, and welcome to another episode of The Pick, where we cannot stay away. We are given a week off. AFCON's coming up. We should have taken the break, but we don't want to take the break. We want to discuss what has happened so far. We love talking about FPL. It makes us happy, sad, and angry all at once. And here we are to discuss it. Of course, I'm joined by my good mate Shamir, and we are joined by a very special guest, FPL enthusiast. You can find him in many spaces on Twitter, of course, with, of course, the likes of Robert Ducky and Gabe and Javed Khan, of course. And I'm going to let him introduce himself and let us know why why FPL, why not NFL, why not NBA, and what's his pedigree. So, of course, none other than Garf, aka FPL Shark. Thanks for joining us, Garf.
Thank you very much for having me, lads. Quite the intro. I appreciate it. Enthusiast, not expert. I love that. There's too many experts out there, right? But no, it is FPL and it is NFL. I just lost my NFL championship draft last week because I put Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals on the bench. So that's 55 points. So I lost my championship. So that hurt a little bit. But no, FPL is the one. Been playing now. This is my 12th season.
Okay.
It's born out of a love for football, for soccer. I've been, taking it more seriously in the last sort of 3 or 4 years, I would say. My rank would say so. Sort of right in the 300, 400, 500,000 K, even a couple of millions in the early days. And then 2 seasons ago, 1,800, and then last season 21,000, and then this season we won't talk about until the end of the season. So,
so who do you support?
That's basically it.
You have a FPL, you have a Premier League side, or
I support Manchester United.
Okay.
I'm originally from the south of England, in Cambridge, and this is where. That's where my coaching career started at Cambridge United. My brother was a professional there. He started when he was 9, and I went through the coaching in the community and the academy. So did that, and then just followed him around as he moved from club to club and kept my coaching up. I was never the player. As far too.
Do you have any badges?
Yeah, I got my UEFA C license. I've got my youth module 1 and 2, and then I'm completing my Canadian. I'm in Canada. I live in Canada.
Right.
I'm doing my C license this year with them. So yeah, it's a good stress relief, eh? Like I sit behind a desk from 9 till 5 and being out on the field coaching, and I'm a specialist goalkeeping coach, so I do a lot of that, and I've got 3 boys that keep me busy. So yeah, that's it in a
So
nutshell.
expect to see a coaching in the Canadian league soon, right?
No, it'd be nice, mate.
That's your dream.
It'd be nice.
That's your dream?
Anything professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, my brother moved. He retired from playing, and then he went into coaching. He was at Lincoln City for a couple of years,
Okay.
and now he's just moved into a coaching role with the PFA. So now he coaches the coaches and gets them through their licensing stream. So it's kind of in the blood. So it'd be nice to do it professionally, but at the moment in Canada, it doesn't pay the mortgage.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's all out of love.
Right. Before we move forward, of course, you have to pick up Javid Khan. Of course, he's in the chat, right? We got Fancy Villain and Garf, right? Thanks, Javid. Garf, as you mentioned, so you have a few badges. As a coach and as going through these courses, does that change your way? Has it changed your way that you viewed or picked your FPL players, or does it have an influence on your FPL
I wanted to
strategy?
ask the same,
Well, before you started, right? You maybe, because I don't know how long you're doing it, but I'm sure that you would have probably playing fantasy before you started the coaching. So you might have seen things differently from another vantage point as you're going through the badges.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of picking the players, who's you pick for your strategy?
And you think as much as you think as a coach, you don't know it all, obviously, because I'm not coaching the Premier League, so I'm not God's gift to coaching. But you do. I find the eye test is massive for me. Like, I'm very fortunate living where I live. I get to watch sort of one at 5:30 a.m., one at 7:30 a.m., one at 10:30, whatever it works out to be. So I can watch 3 games on a Saturday morning before anyone in the house has moved. So I don't miss out on that family time. So, and it's the big hot topic at the moment, isn't it? It's grass versus analytics, and it's what side are you on? Are you Coke or you Pepsi? Are you Xbox or Nintendo? Like I don't think you can play FPL and just say, right, it's going to be grass.
Yes, totally agree.
It's got to be both.
Yeah,
it's got to be both, and the eye test, or the grass, and or whatever you want to call it, that is still data collection. You're still taking in data.
True.
It's just obviously a visual. So it's its own form of analytics, and depending on how you watch the game and how you view the game. If you see Ollie Watkins drifting out onto the left wing, but he arrives at the back post 6 out of 10 times, then the heat maps will tell you generally where he's been, but they won't tell you that he's 2 yards off the back post, or he's 2 yards inside the back post, and it's those things I think I'd like to think I pick up on, and it makes a difference to me. Gabe, like FPL Lens, will tell you I've got a healthy ambition and a liking for Ander Herrera. I just had him in my team because I like the way he played. Awful FPL, that's it.
Yeah,
awful.
yeah.
You just a little bit of sprinkling of fun, and
yeah.
So it definitely has affected, for sure, like 100% it has. But it's you've got to do both. You can't not. You can't ignore XGI or XA or XG or whatever it might be that you particularly find valuable. You got to take it. You got to take both. So that's a long short answer.
Yeah, no, but there has to be something. Go ahead, Shami. Go ahead.
I was going to say how, and then two people who use stats, they tend to use it in their own biases as well, in terms of the way you view your stats and the way you view your football as well. Your biases will come through the way you pick your players as well. Because I may look at Ollie Watkins, like you mentioned, drifting out to the left-hand side 6 or 10 times as a positive thing, where somebody else may say, well, he's leaving his striker position and moving to the left, leaving that those attacking positions, or naturally a more attacking position, right, as a bad thing, and they wouldn't pick him, whereas I would pick him. You know what I mean? So I think how you view FPL and how you view football as well kind of influences the whole grass versus analytics as well, and kind of confirms your biases.
For sure.
Also.
For sure it does. What about yourselves? What do you tend to lean towards? Like, are you sort of like one or the other? Like, not one or the other, but do you like have
Yeah,
a bias towards one?
I know for me personally, I more lean towards, since I've been taking FPL seriously since last year, I lean to more was a stats driven approach with a healthy mix of eye tests when I could watch the games and highlights.
Yeah.
But I like the stats and the underlying numbers of players and trying to use that to kind of not necessarily jump ahead of the trend, but try to catch players on the rise and try to catch players who not generally being picked by other players as well. Yeah. That's my approach.
Yeah, like it.
Well, my approach is a bit. I mean, it's eye test, but what I do, Garf, right? I can give an example. Game week 3,
okay,
I brought in Gray, right? To the much disdain of Shamir. Shamir did not agree with that. Why are you bringing in Gray? This was before this spell, right? This was the week before his patch, his nice patch. Right now, the reason I brought him in, I remember him from Leicester, and then when I saw just 2 games with him on Everton, I was like, hey, Gray looking good. Do Curry securing him? Alan coming back just now. He looking secure. DCL was still fit, so he had DCL. If you can't afford, my approach is if you can't afford like the big boys, get the guys out of the system. So I got Gray, and I was like, hey, Gray looking good, and bam, and that was a great example. Another example, like Crystal Palace, Gallagher, right?
Yep.
I brought him in just before the patch. Just he had a few bad games, and then like 2 weeks before the bad patch, I brought him in, and that was it. And so I mix up the eye test, but since
2
meeting
from 2.
game,
That's 2.
sorry, was it? Yeah. But it doesn't always work out, eh? It doesn't always work out.
Yeah, he has some bad ones as well.
Right, but
we all like to say,
yeah, but the biggest,
he does is good.
the biggest success has been Cody and Sa. I don't care what anyone says. Cody and Sa have been the best. I had them since game week 1, and I have not looked back.
There you go.
Right. We have before we get into the action, Javid asking Garf as a specialist goalkeeper coach, who's your favorite goalkeeper at the moment?
At the moment in the Premier League, but my bias aside, because I love him, I love everything about him. David De Gea, that would be the obvious answer. But because I'm a Man United fan, but I think technically, when I watch a goalkeeper, like technically, and you look at 3 things. And I always teach the kids this. I always coach in the same way. You're gonna learn 3 things today: handling, decision making, shot stopping. That's it. If we can get that down pat, then you're going to be okay. And that's every session I do with them. And so this year, not just recently, this year, Jose Sa has been. I mean. You're talking about a player that's walked into Wolves off the back of one of the top 10 goalkeepers in Europe.
Yeah, totally
over the last 15 years in Raul Patricio, and that's not that's not easy to do that.
No,
and he's walked in, and his distribution's on point. He commands his box. He talks to his back 4. His shot stopping is outstanding. His footwork, his movement in and around the goal line. He's a special player, and hopefully he's going to be there for a long time. It really is going to boil down to the fact if they can keep him.
Yeah,
true.
because he is a very good goalkeeper, and he's on top of his form, and you can see it every time he walks down to the fit. Like, as a goalkeeper, right? You know you're going to have a good game before you even before even whistle's gone, because it's a confidence position, and we try and tell the kids that. So that, like, you haven't let in a goal yet. It's the game's tied. If you don't concede one, you're going to get a draw. Or you're going to win, one of the two. And you just try and it's just a pure confidence thing. And he is at the top of the tree right now. And I was absolutely devastated when I took him out for his bad run. 4 weeks ago.
Garf. No,
Yeah.
Garf.
And since then, I put in David. I
Yeah.
took him out, put David De Gea in. Then I took David De Gea out, and then I put Ramsdale in. Now I've got Ramsdale. He's blanking 2 of the next
Oh
6, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah. It's
my
tough. It's
god,
tough. It's tough.
like
Well,
It's
it,
tough.
he
Yeah,
really
it's
is a set and forget. Put him in.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Ignore him.
Definitely.
exactly.
Yeah.
As I said, since
We-
game week 1, since game
Yeah.
week, I had a Raya on
No.
him, and
Yeah.
that was it. And that was it.
I think a lot of people underestimated him coming in as well
For sure.
with a new coach, new keeper, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know how Wolves would have been defensively, you know, without Nuno, because they were great with Nuno, right?
Yeah.
And people were worried, right? I was one of them who was skeptical about him because I know he didn't set the world alight at I think it was at, is it Porto or Benfica, boy? Can't remember which team he came from. But I knew that he was a solid keeper, but I didn't expect him to be or perform at this level at this stage in the Premier League now. So I was pleasantly surprised with him as well.
And in his confidence is, it's no
Yeah,
coincidence that the back 4 or the back 3 centre backs or whichever formation that Lage plays, like it's not a coincidence that they've all elevated their game, because all of a sudden they've got the confidence in the guy behind him. Like, well, if it really does go bad, then we've got half a chance because he's probably going to keep it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in the mix for me. The Wolves defense and there's not a bigger fan in the FPL world than you, my man, with regards to Wolves, eh?
Well,
he's a big Wolves and Everton fan.
I bold-facedly went on Net That Hall just before the bad patch. Gaff went on Net That Hall, and they were asking, let's suggest goalkeepers, let's suggest defenders, and I defended Cody, I defended Sa, and every game week now I tag FPL Nima. Every time Cody gets his bonus points, every time Cody, I tag him in a tweet. Every time, just bigging up Cody, because I wasn't afraid of the fixtures, especially against you all. No offense, I don't really have much respect for Ronaldo. I was not afraid. I was not afraid for that game at all, and it went perfectly according to plan.
Yeah, no, he played it well. He played it straight down the line where he needed it to be. So yeah, it's good. Can't argue with it.
So let's get into it one time. So Gav, sorry, I backed the greatest team in London, right? Arsenal. We did not do too well, right? We did not do too hot to this game week here. Let me say that one more time. All right, I backed the greatest team. Right. Right. Just making sure. Right, I'm proud, very proud of my team. Now we didn't do too bad against City. I must say it wasn't a terrible game. It's just one of those unlucky. We're just unlucky. So we're just gonna talk about. So Garf, what we like to do, we just like to talk about the assets real quickly. Who performed well? I know. Funny enough, you're a goalkeeper coach. I'm a goalkeeper specialist for fantasy. All I like to talk about is the goalkeepers, and then I let my guests do the team. Right? That's all I like to talk about.
Okay.
So no save points really from Ramsdale. No save points from Edison. Right? So not much action to talk about in terms of the goalkeepers. So we'll move on. So Shamir, take it away now. Who do we? I know there was not much to take away from it, but I don't know if you saw the game. But
I didn't get to watch the game.
Right, but Tierney looked good, Saka looked good, not just because of the points, but they looked good. Martinelli was amazing. He just didn't score. That was the only issue with Martinelli. We should have won that game comfortably, or at least drawn because of Martinelli.
So there are a few points to bring up when you're talking about Arsenal, right? Because the fact that they're going to blank pretty soon in game week 25 or 26, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's important to note. And then the rescheduling of Liverpool versus
Liverpool's
Arsenal,
game, yes.
Right? That's also going to affect the next game week. And Arsenal won't double. I think Brent Crellin basically confirmed that Arsenal won't double in game week 22, right? If I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct.
So that's a kind of point to note as well. In terms of FPL assets, Garf and myself have Ramsdale. I had Ramsdale before he became popular, right? And I was glad of that for that pick. But I right now thinking about either moving him on to somebody who does double and kind of misses the blank game week, or keeping him, right? That's a conundrum I have right now in terms of what I'll do with Ramsdale himself, because I do have a backup keeper to kind of rotate with, right?
You do have one. Who have you got?
I don't. I have Stu.
Oh, you don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think my next option may be to to get a backup keeper. And I look at honestly at Brentford bought Lossell, and for some reason he has save points in him from prior seasons because he's a decent shot stopper now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think he could be a good little underrated pick going forward if Brentford does double and stuff like that. So I may look to bring him in, but we'll see. Depends on what the fires I have to put out. I was glad to see that Tomiyasu's back, right? Because he brings a kind of balance to Arsenal's defense. So that kind of reflects in them doing better in this game than when they first faced City and it was a cakewalk in that first fixture. Who else is there? Smith was a kind of funny one for me because I think he has lost his place in his squad starting wise. Now he's coming off the bench, scoring points off the bench, but and this game showed how often will that continue, him coming off the bench to score, right? Yeah. So if you have him, I don't know if you want to keep him moving forward or move him on for someone else like Martinelli, who may be starting consistently from now on, as we could see, right? Sure. Or looking at other options like a Lanzini, who's a good shout to have now that Benrahma has gone to AFCON and he'll get more minutes, or a Bowen as well if you have a little extra money to bump up towards that. So, or even move on to Saka as well if you kind of keep Arsenal, because Arsenal is good to have over the next 8 game weeks because they have good fixtures. But again, how do you deal with the not doubling or the blank game week? So that's my opinion on Arsenal.
Yeah.
I don't know if Garf or Jared has anything else to add.
It's gonna be a case of very much team dependency, right? On how you're structured. So you're right, they do blank in 25 and they do blank in 27. But in between that they do have Brentford, Wolves, Burnley, and then Spurs obviously in 22. If you've got 5 in midfield, 5 playing midfielders, I think you can hold because you can just rotate. You can just rotate your Arsenal midfielder out. If you've got a playing goalkeeper as your second goalkeeper, obviously that's an easy win.
Yeah,
you can rotate. If you don't, I'm not too sure that I would hold, and I've got Gunn, and obviously he's played the last 2 only because Krul's had COVID. Right. I don't think you can hold that because that's just going to, obviously you're down to 10 men straight off the bat for 2 weeks. So I think we're going to have to move to a Sarr, a Lloris, or a David De Gea. To catch the doubles to make up the -4 that you're going to lose by taking him out because you're going to have to move something. You're going to have another 5 to put out.
So planning to jump the gun earlier rather than hold until give me 25 to mini transfer. That's your plan, or that's what you're thinking?
I'll probably hold him for Spurs, Burnley, and Wolves.
Yeah.
Because, save points against Spurs, clean sheet potential against Burnley, and clean sheet potential against Wolves. And then if I can roll it enough where I can get 2 free transfers for 25, that's when I'll make my move. I'm not going to force something. I don't think I'll force something now for 22.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the double game week is going to be good enough to get a goalkeeper in for a double. I might be wrong, but I don't think that'll be the case. So I think I'm just going to probably say make sure my squad's decent going into 24, roll that, and then come out 24 with 2 and shift Ramsdale on.
Okay, yeah, I was looking the same thinking as well. He's like a back burner transfer for me, just something to keep in the background. To plan while we're planning ahead.
And what I've done, or what you try and tell people, when people DM you or they jump into your comments and you're like, shall I remove this player out for this player? Because we're going through COVID and we're dropping games and this, that, and the other. And they're talking about players that are potentially going to play. Yeah. It's like, well, you're not going to move a player that's going to play because there's not many players that are playing.
True.
So if there's a case of, it's a luxury. We talk about luxury transfers. It's a luxury transfer. If Ramsdale's going to play one game, he's going to play one game, but he's still going to play. There's going to be teams that don't play.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have a game week 22 where everyone plays. I'd be very surprised, but and I think it's just a case of, you know, really looking after those free transfers because they're super valuable at the moment. You just don't know when and where the games are getting cancelled. So,
True.
If you've got a player that's playing, leave him. I've still got Pookie. Like whatever. Like
Jared.
Sorry.
Yeah. Jared love. I don't know what players Jared love, but he loves Pookie as well. I don't know.
And do you know what the kicker this week's going to be? He's going to rock up against West Ham and he's going to score, like, because that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Like, and all those people that bought in Dawson and Kufal.
No comment.
That's like Shelby scoring against Liverpool because it's just inevitable, right?
Yeah, it's just the way it goes. Yeah. What one season? I think next season, what I'm going to do is bring just make as many transfers as I can and bring all the players in that have previously played for the team that they're playing that week, and just just because it's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's what it is. True.
So I don't know. Yeah, if you got a player, leave him. If because you've got loads of fires anyway. But Tommy Asu's nice coming back for Arsenal. Tommy Asu's nice.
Yeah, I had him early as well,
Yeah.
And I honestly shouldn't have sold him for my Reece James move when I did because Reece James went in through that terrible patch. And Tommy Asu was in form at that point in time as well. And it was a calculated transfer in terms of trying to catch Reece James on the rise or continue his rise, whereas Tommy Asu was still kind of getting odd clean sheets and I kind of missed the gun on that one. And I lost a good bit of points on in that stretch. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Before we talk about, as I say terrible, before we talk about City, right? Tyrion here, so big up Tyrion. Thanks for coming through as always. He got Fernandez on the wild card for double game week, so he wants to sell Fernandez and probably bring in Lossell as a swap.
I think it's David here, not double game week.
It is double.
My bad. Right. Yes. I thought he meant he brought him in for the dub. My bad. Yes. I would leave Lossell. I would leave Fernandez and David.
Like Garf was mentioned, right? That's a luxury transfer, Tyron. So I don't think I would really move on to Lossell just yet. Give him a few games. Let's see how Fernandez performs. If Lossell will overtake immediately, I'm not too sure about that yet. Maybe a game or two. So I think he's safe with double game week coming up if Brentford does double. But just keep your eye on it for now. But that's a luxury transfer.
Yeah.
Don't sweat it yet.
Yeah.
Because more likely to start in David here anyway, right?
Yeah, you're going to be starting DDG. Like you say, you're going to have more fires to put out.
Yeah.
So, of course, the most unpredictable team to pick a player from, right? Garf, we have a system where we have a wheel. We put the guys' names on a wheel and let the wheel pick the players, right? Now, last week, our wheel was down. So, I selected Mahrez. I can't remember. Sammy, who you said?
Hang on. The wheel was down?
Yes.
The most fundamental shape in the world that has created movement and transport. The wheel was down. Would it have a flat?
And for the first 2 weeks, Garf, it was correct. It was correct for the first 2 weeks that we used it. It selected Gondwan. It selected Sterling.
Okay.
Bam. Right, on point. Last week, it selected Fernandinho. He got 3 points. We'll take that, right? Can't be correct all the time. We'll take that. We had no wheel, so we went with Mahrez. And boom, and Mahrez. So, because as you know, Garf, it all is so tricky. You cannot determine who Pep is going to play. Pep overthinks. You never know he's going to play. But I only advised Mahrez because I just guessed. It looked like he's in his plans for now.
Well, not anymore.
Right. Not anymore because of AFCON. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So I think that was why he used him, just to give him some form going into the tournament. So that's why I would have recommended him. It only made sense. Of course, we had Rodrigo performing, Bernardo with a lucky assist, right? But I will take that. I'm one of the few guys that kept Bernardo.
I have him as well.
Yeah, I kept it. I didn't bother to sell him. I kept it. Don't mind the blank a few times.
I didn't really sell him.
Yeah. Laporte again bringing in some valuable FPL points again.
There you go. There's your man right there.
Yeah.
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 There's your man. If you've obviously, I think I'm guessing we probably all got Cancelo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and it's just probably easier, less of roulette for the next 4 weeks before Champions League starts again, where you can have, if you're going to bring Laporte in, you bring him in now. Don't wait, because it's going to be Champions League, and that rotation at the back is going to be a stinker. So if you're going to bring him in. I'd rather double up at the back and have a single attacking player than gamble on 2 attacking players.
Totally agree. I think we was mentioning as well in last show, we mentioned doubling the back and keeping one as one attacker, because they can't really can't predict what's going to happen up top for City.
Right.
I think also I wanted to mention the fact that Laporte is an easy switch when you're selling your Chelsea assets, because James is injured. I think Aspilicueta got an injury today, right? Alonso is Alonso, right? Mendy's gone to AFCON. That means Kepa is in goal. So, and then Chelsea's playing some tougher fixtures coming up. I don't see them keeping many clean sheets. So I don't know if people still have Chelsea assets, but I think that's an easy move to make from James or whoever you have to Laporte to get those clean sheets and bonus points here and there and stuff like that.
Okay. Solid.
I don't know if you guys agree or not.
Yeah.
I agree. Just keep that money in the back line, and I wouldn't go. You know, if you have got a James and you moved him out, and because it's sensible too, if you can keep that sort of 5.5 million, 6 million in that back line, then it obviously makes it easier to move backwards and forwards. But sure.
Yeah. All right, so next up, Watford versus Spurs. Watford 0, Spurs 1. Of course, let me just touch on keepers real quickly. So Bachmann was busy, 9 saves. So you'd have gotten, you'd have finished up there with 5 points, not bad at all. And Loris with 4 saves, and got some bonus points as well. So he'd have finished off with 8 points. Garf, run us through now. So who will catch your eye going forward in this matchup?
This is interesting, because I've thrown a couple of questions out on Twitter about this, because Dennis, who obviously got brought off at half time, and I was listening to the Dive lads out of America, and Marco was saying that it probably went along the lines of, well, we're going to play you. We didn't let you go to AFCON, but we're going to bring you off at half time to make it look like an injury. So, and I'm sitting in the car listening to Marco, and I'm like,
damn,
that's probably exactly how it went.
Wow. Okay, I didn't think about that.
And I'm not too sure, and I put it out, and I think it's a case of that for Dennis not to play, and I'll probably get shot down, for Dennis not to play now for Watford, it would take the national team to actually put a petition into FIFA.
I think they did it.
Have they done that?
I think they any talk. I think the rumors about them doing something like that, because Watford also didn't let Sarr leave for AFCON as well.
Yeah,
and we know Sarr's not fully fit, but they still didn't let him leave. So I think
that's going to be one to watch, because I don't know if Watford are going to be allowed to play him. And if that's the case, then I would kind of lean towards King, but I'm not in a mad rush to bring him in. You know, it's I think it's Dennis or nobody really.
Or nothing. Correct.
There's no one in the back line that you're going to have. You're not picking Tom Cleverley. He's just. I think monitor the Dennis situation. If it turns out that he can't play, then if you're brave enough to go King, go King. But I don't know. I think you can go. I'd rather go Brozier of Southampton over the Watford boys, but that's just a personal preference.
Yeah. I went King over Dennis in the debate. So right now I have King in my team. So
yeah.
You
can't move him because he's going to have a double.
So, I'm keeping him for now.
I
have no worries about him. He's too cheap to worry about right now. and he's
it's
playing
just-
90 minutes. So
yeah, you don't have to worry about it. It's just one of those guys. Like I've still got Pookie. I'm like, I've got far too many other things to worry about other than
exactly.
other than whether he's going to play or not. I don't really care.
yeah,
And then the Spurs boys, obviously everyone's talking about
Mm.
Kane, Son, and have they turned the corner? They're obviously not firing on all cylinders at the moment, but it's not certainly not as bad as it was. And then obviously you got Reguilon and Emerson Royale on the opposite wings there. I brought in Emerson Royale last week.
Right, not bad.
Yeah, good. It was a good move, and it was a long-term move. That you hear rumblings on Twitter, and Tottenham fans they're not particularly struck by him, but he does a job.
Yeah.
He had 114 touches of the ball. Like it's ridiculous.
He's a terrible crosser, though. So I mean,
he couldn't cross a bridge.
yeah,
he couldn't cross a bridge. But he's cheap, and you don't have to worry about him because he's going to play more often than not. So
you chose him over Reguilon, or
yeah, I had Reguilon at the start of the season,
Same.
and the only reason I didn't go back to Reguilon is because of Conte expects, or how I see it, Conte expects him to do a lot more running than perhaps the others in the position that he holds. So he expends, like as I'm watching the games, he expends more energy, I think.
Yeah,
and that's why we're seeing, off at half time,
75th minute, I think. Yeah.
off at 70 minutes, off at whatever it might be. And I think because you have that push on that side with Reguilon, you don't see, obviously they can't both go at the same time. So because it's a Reguilon, and then you'll see kind of Emerson Royale sort of go half.
Yeah.
He expends less energy, and therefore I think he's less prone to being taken off. And don't get me wrong, Conte's, one of the best managers, top 3 managers in the world. He's not stupid. So I think you will see some rotation on Reguilon's side, but I don't know about Emerson Royale. I think he's good until Session comes back. And Session was playing well before he got injured. But because he gets injured, plays 2 games, gets injured, and it's like, and he's, there's no confidence in there. So I think that was the reason I went him over Regs.
Fair shout.
But yeah.
Well, my hope, and it was a great feeling. 75th minute, Reguilon comes on, and then Tottenham concedes in the 78th. I think that's great, especially as an Arsenal fan. That's a great, because I have Reguilon since game week 1, right? I will definitely take that. Let Reguilon come off, and then they could concede. Clean sheet points in the bag. That's a great strategy, Garf. Great strategy.
I like it, mate. I like it. And then you look across the back line there, you got Dyer. And he's
cheap.
He's on set pieces.
Cheap.
So
cheap.
He's cheap, and he'll get you one
Sanchez
header a
is cheap.
season.
Sanchez is cheap as well.
I would never pick Sanchez. That was a one-off fluke. That was a Masiako fluke. I will not run down.
My boy picked Sanchez. He's like, he said, Dad, shall I put Davison in? I was like, no.
Oh no.
He went, all right, I'll put him in. He put him in anyway. And then he benched him first bench. And then who didn't play? One of his players didn't play. So he's got him coming on. He's on like 55 points. Dirty.
I'm sure he let you have it all week. All week he let you have
it. He hasn't let me forget it. Yeah, keep getting a screenshot every now and again. Yeah, cool.
I guess it's something to it. It's fun to have people in your household and immediate friends playing FPL as well, and especially not making different choices than you.
Yeah.
Because when they get it right, they pong you from now to the next game week, and vice versa. When you get it right, you show off as well, right? So it's pretty fun like that too for FPL,
It's true. That's why I got him involved.
That's
why I got him involved. A bit of banter,
So I want to talk about these 2 guys here,
Who
Mr. Kane and Mr. Son. Do we run, Gaff, to the Cane Hill, or do we stick with the Sun Cave of Solitude? It's safe, it's nice, we know what to expect. You know, the Cane Hill is now getting green, the flowers now starting to bloom one by one. Do we rush or do we stick with Sun? And two, we have if you don't have Sun and you're thinking of getting rid of Salah, is Sun a good replacement? And we'll talk about this at length a little more, but
Yeah.
just to tease that topic.
Um,
What do you think? Shamir and Gaff.
Shamir, you go first, mate. What do you reckon?
Oh well, I mean, I already have Son in my team with Salah in my on my team as well, right? I'm a big believer in Son and how he plays, especially since he came into Tottenham, and especially since Conte has moved back to the 3-5-2 formation. He gets Son properly involved in the game a lot more. I mean, against the Watford game, Son was kind of drifting in a sense. He was kind of isolated. He should have drifted across to the left a little more. They have more pockets of space, right? Because it's kind of stifling him in the midfield. But I'm a big believer in Son, and where he plays once he plays with Kane up top, he'll get those returns, and I have him in my team. So if you're moving on Salah, I would suggest go to Son. There are a few other options around, but I think Son is the safest pick with fixtures to play, right? They have fixtures to play as well.
Yeah.
I think that's my number one pick for anybody moving on Salah. Kane, I'm still not fully convinced in Kane yet, only because I feel as though Kane of last season and seasons before would have finished some chances or would have done more with the service he's been getting from Son and the other midfielders rather than Kane of now. I think he's a little off the pace still. So I'm not too sure if he will catch fire yet, but I'm not going to bet my money on him for now.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think I don't own Son at the moment, but I do own Salah. So I had a couple of decent conversations with people in the community over the last sort of 10 days where I just flippantly said, take Salah out, put Son in, because you're leaving that cash in the midfield to move back to Salah. If you go to Kane, if you go from Salah to Kane, you're 2 transfers away from going back to Salah.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, you know, and it's a little bit of fate. Like, I'm looking at Spurs' fixtures. They obviously got the Arsenal, then they got Chelsea, and they got Southampton and Wolves, and then they're going to shoehorn another game in there as well. It's not like on paper, it's not a great fixture run, but it's still Spurs. It's not as if we're talking about Cheltenham Town. It's I think I'd be inclined, because I know I'm going to make that goalkeeping transfer. And again, it's team dependent, and I know I've got to get to 25 with 2 free transfers. Me bringing Kane in to play up front is a luxury when I can get somebody for cheaper who does a similar job in midfield. And I'm going to lose a midfielder because I'm going to get rid of Salah because I don't know how long he's going to be at AFCON for. So, I think it's an easy move. And sometimes, you know, we look at these things and we're like, oh, what should I do? You know, classic overthinking. Should I do this? Should I think of that? This isn't one of them. Sometimes the obvious thing is A to B and just forget about it. You know, like you're right. You spoke about, you know, other options in there. You look at Kevin De Bruyne, but he's really
he's on the list. He's on the list.
He's turning, right? Like it's new,
yeah.
You know, people talk about old Kevin De Bruyne, like he's coming back, and it's like, but it's still City's midfield. Like anyone can play.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And that's the problem.
Same with Sterling. Sterling's got to be on the list. The guy's on fire. Like he's banging form. 4 games, or did he go 4 or 5 games with scoring or being involved or an assist, and then bang, dropped, dunk. Out for the and it's like
to play at all,
So you know, depending on your risk appetite for players like that, sure, bring him in. Good luck to you. But for me, I'm a $8 million £8 million Foden man.
Right.
Because it's only 8 million. Like you know, and if he gets dropped, he gets dropped, and I've got to bring him back in when he gets past COVID.
And when he gets past his bad behavior as well. But
well,
yes.
yeah,
I think he passed that for now. For now.
I hope so. I hope he learned his
Yeah.
lesson because he
Yeah.
let
Yeah, I hope so.
Because he's young, he young. Forget FPL,
Yeah.
you know. Come on, in a
Yeah,
great
he's only
team
a
like
kid.
that. Yeah. He's only a kid.
Yeah.
But
Right,
yeah, so depending on your risk appetite, I think
Right.
he's one son. And I don't think you need, because you've got DCL, you've got Watkins, you've got Antonio, you've got Dennis, you've got King,
Pookie.
you've got Pooks.
Yeah.
There's players in there that are going to score. You know, there's no forward in the game like ripping up trees. So you've only got to pick two that are scoring every other game.
And the sad thing is, we can't even recommend Ronaldo. Like that's how sad it is because you can't even say, right, let me go from Kane to not Kane, get Ronaldo. You can't even say that because Ronaldo and all not as consistent. As you said, no one is really.
I think people go to the Ronaldo only because of the price point and the potentially offers to your FPL team. He's on penalties. He's gonna play. He's gonna start when he's fit. Mightn't play the full 90 every game, right?
Yeah.
But at least he will play majority of the game. Players will pass the ball to him for him to finish, right? So he potentially offers to teams is what entices people into buying him, right?
And his name.
I mean,
but when you could only score one goal against Norwich and you weren't the guy that scored the goal, that is worrying.
So I'm not gonna suggest anybody buy Ronaldo, rip up your team and buy Ronaldo, right? I'm not that person to do that. So I'm just saying, looking from people's perspective, I could see why they would want him, right? To try to to bet on him.
Yeah,
but it's a fairly safe bet in theory, but in reality, it hasn't.
I agree.
I
agree with you, but
for them at all.
I agree with you. But my debate starts with when people were, not even considering Vardy. Vardy was on fire. Just because of Ronaldo's name, the jump on Ronaldo. And Ronaldo only did a few things in the first 3 games when he came, and it was like if Vardy's playing golf, and I was like, with what Ronaldo has on people that it doesn't make it. But I mean, he's a good, as I say, he's a good athlete. He will do what he's supposed to do. But I good for a while. But as I said, there's some good options. We'll talk about those options coming up. Speaking of, we had a decent little game here, 3-2. Palace to West Ham 3. Of course, let me just talk about Fabianski real quickly. So 4 saves, 2 points in total. Guaita, no saves at all, just the 1 point. Not too bad from Palace because remember Sham, we wasn't too expectant of them because it got no Gallagher, no Zaha, but they still stepped up. The young Alice coming off the bench, doing a good job there. I mean, that's an FPL asset as yet, but he has been, coming on trumps, getting his assists here and there, scoring here and there, not too bad at all. I will never thought I would big up this guy, Ayu, right? Finally. But again, he has been coming up once in a while, but I will never recommend him as an asset. We did talk about Edward. Edward scored.
Yeah, we did.
Right? He is someone that we highlight on the show. Benteke will know not much from him. Didn't fire at all. And of course, this guy here finally deciding to come back into form after a long spell. Yeah. And of course, another one of his friends here, Ben Rama, tearing up on fire first few game weeks and then disappeared. Lanzini again, a brace, not too bad at all. So who do you all have? I know you all have to have somebody for this game week that we're in right now. And why is it Bowen? I know the answer already, but why is it Bowen?
Yeah, I'm Bowen, right? On the line stats, good player. I like him a lot as a player as well. Get into those positions where he does pop in with the assists, pre-assists, and goals at a point in time. So I'm a Bowen fan. I also love Antonio as a player. Unfortunately, I sold him 2 game weeks ago. Right, I had to do some other stuff. And then he catch fire. So I think people owe me the points because when I sold him, he started scoring points, right? So I'm glad for you guys, right? But so my assets, honestly, if I have to choose, it will be Bowen and Antonio, and then for the next 4 game weeks, definitely look out for Lanzini. Only because Benrahma is out, and they want that other person to rotate with Bowen and Vasilic and those midfielders or attacking midfielders. They want somebody else running the show inside of there. I think he's going to be a good option to come.
And they have some decent games coming up. So
They
I
do,
really think,
like-
yeah.
in the next 6, they play Leeds, Man
Mhm.
United, Watford, Leicester,
Easy
Newcastle.
food, easy,
Yeah.
especially that
Easy.
Man U game. Easy
Yeah.
food.
Just feed the goat.
So I
Um,
don't think they double though. They don't double. They don't double
No, they
for the
can't
next
double.
game week. But yeah, they can't double. But it's still we do have you shouldn't be so concerned about doubling unless you're chasing a set of points.
Yeah.
Be more concerned about players actually scoring points because a player could double but we score 4 points, whereas a player for one single game week could score 2 goals and score 10 points plus,
Yeah.
right?
We get
So-
into that. We get into a player
Yeah.
that did that.
Yeah.
Tyrone, he was going good all the time, He was going good all the time, Why I had to mention Dawson? Why?
No.
Where's this Dawson thing come from?
Oh.
God, why? All over Twitter. I'm like,
So this is a classic
dude.
FPL Twitter community pick. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
it is,
as good as they get. People were talking
Yeah, it
before this double game week. Oh,
Yes.
he's going to score a thunder bastard goal from a header. He's going to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there, I'm reading this. I'm going, yeah, this okay. It probably might happen, but it is still West Ham,
Yeah.
and they will concede.
Yeah.
Like they will.
True.
And I just couldn't get my head around it.
I
And
must.
I'm like, please don't. I even put a tweet out saying I just can't. I don't know why you're bringing in. And I didn't. I couldn't bring in a defensive asset from West Ham because they love a leak.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and I got lucky. That Don't get me wrong. I was not in a good mood with 82 minutes gone, or whenever they scored, or whenever they hadn't scored. So it was. I was relatively pleased, but straight up Lanzini is a baller.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy is a magician, and he is such a confidence player. He's like a Lacazette, or he's like a Giroud, or he just needs to be playing games to build that confidence, and then he just gets on that roll, right? And we haven't really seen it with West Ham because they've just got some good midfield options, and Ben Rama at the start of the season was decent. Bowen has come into his own. Rice is on a different level if you actually watch him from a football point of view, and not
Football,
FPL.
not FPL,
Yeah.
but football. Correct.
You just can't get them all in. And I think you're right. I think if you're stuck with a Rafinha, although I'd probably keep Rafinha at the minute. We're going to talk about
I would
Leeds
too.
and
I would too.
Definitely keep repeating.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to triple up on West Ham, I don't think I would right now, because it's a bit awkward because they don't double, and there's going to be teams that you fancy on the double that you could probably keep for a longer period. Because when Ben Rama comes back, it just feels like a transfer waiting to happen. But you're right, Lanzini will get a couple of goals in the next 3 weeks, and we'll all be like, "Oh, we should have got Lanzini." Oh, you remember when we spoke about that in the pavilion? Well, it's just one of those things that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But his ownership so low, we don't really have to worry about it. Apart
No,
from
not that.
True.
It is
Just
a EU,
enjoy it.
yeah.
because he's a player.
Yeah, I'm just happy with the points. We don't follow our own advice here on the pavilion. We give great advice, but we don't follow it. Once we give it,
don't
right?
say that. Don't say like that.
Once we give it, once we give it,
we
right?
follow
Once
our
we give it,
advice, right? But we can't follow everything because
yeah.
I mean,
Now we don't follow our
that's a
own.
disclaimer. That's a disclaimer. We can't follow everything,
Yeah. But we try our best. We try our
We
best.
try.
you know?
We do. We really do.
Try.
Talking about trying our best before we move on and hate bust in, like,
No.
what overall rank are we right now? Where are we?
You could have asked me this. If you asked me 3 weeks ago, yeah, no problem. 3 weeks.
I fell as well for a couple last 3 game weeks, but I'm actually at 121 currently.
Okay,
K has 121K, right?
there
Currently,
you go.
but
That's a
the
nice
last
position to be in.
last 3 or 4 games ago, I was like 54 or something like that. K.
Yeah.
So I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so far.
I dropped from 60K down to 278K because of the COVID hits that I got. Yeah, real bad. Real bad.
Rough.
Oh,
Real bad. But I am a
Yeah.
guy that, I don't take those things out. This season
No.
has plenty time, but yeah, was flying high, Garf, and then
you're
COVID said
flying,
nope.
mate.
COVID
You're
said
flying,
nope.
and then you forgot 3 deadlines. You
No,
just
I was
forgot them.
I remember them. I was up. I was
He just stuck with some rough.
I
rough
stuck
picks.
with some rough picks,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
no.
COVID said, "All right,
Yeah.
yep,"
Oh,
and that
that's
was
a
it. And that was a
stinker.
case of me.
Yeah.
That was a case of me not following my own advice and the advice that we gave because we were given some advice, and I was like, "Nah, I cool with what." And yep, that was the price to pay.
Stinker. But you can only go up, right? So we're
That's
only.
it. That's it.
I
Everyone
mean, you
inside-
can't only go up in FPL. You could go down.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm.
No,
I'm.
but the
str-
good.
I'm
The good thing with
struggling.
FPL you could get like some big leaps and some big dives. So hoping for a big leap
Yeah.
again, Yeah,
I
big
just
up
can't.
Tyrone, 29K. All right, Tyrone.
Okay.
Hang on a
All
minute.
right.
What am I doing on here? Get Tyrone on here quick. Like I'm out, tapping out. See you later.
Yeah. I don't know why he's
Yeah.
here with us.
We
29K.
where are you, Garf? Before I mention something pretty cool for us in Trinidad. Where are you right now?
I'm having I'm stuck, literally stuck. I've been around 500K for about 6 weeks. I can't move.
Too much.
I can't
Too much.
my
movement
green
around you.
arrows. My green arrows are like, I don't know, 50, 60K. And then when I hit a red arrow, I hit one at like 150 or 120.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
I just
Same
can't.
here.
And I'm,
Yeah.
I've got Pookie in. I've still got Raf. I've had Dine in my team. I've had Tierney. I've had Tomiyasu. It's not as if I'm like, I'm not a template, Matt. Like, I'm not a template guy.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I like templates sometimes.
yeah, I need this week. I need Antonio I've captained Antonio this week.
Right. So you need a beaver trick. Right.
And
I understand.
I really do need him to bang in 2 goals at least.
Yeah.
To
I hope he doesn't, for my sake. My uncle's coming. Yeah.
But so it's been tough, and it's been hard to make that change, and but you just keep plugging away, right? You just hopefully.
I think
I'm just hoping that
Javid,
400,000 managers just quit.
Javid mentioned that around this time is where right, from second half of the season, where he loves FPL, because this is where a lot of movement can happen. So if you're in and around the top million, you can move around pretty quickly up within this ending period with the double game weeks, your free hits, your wild cards.
I'll hold Javid to that, and I'll let him
so I think I think you'll definitely move up. When you keep plugging away.
Like, honestly, I listen to like 9 or 10 hours of podcasts a week. Like, I'm banging in hours. I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm setting deadlines alarms at 3:30.
Yeah. See him.
I'm up against the ropes. I'm like, and then I'm looking at my scores and going, oh yeah, another red arrow.
I think sometimes too, you have one season where you just have an absolute stinker and you just can't.
Yeah.
You can't move. Yeah, I think this is the one.
Catch a break.
This is the one. Yeah.
But this is it. Like, now I've been on the pavilion. This is it. This is the turn. So
this is the turn. I'm telling you, this is the turn. This is the turn.
Here we go.
This is the turn. Just shout out to somebody from some Trinidad who's actually turning the world right now. Deer Hunt. He's turning the world right now. He's doing wonders, tearing it up. Yeah. So
we're trying to get him on the show. I reached out to him on Facebook, so I'm trying to see if I can get him and bring him on. Yeah. Third in the world from Trinidad.
Third in the world currently.
Third?
Yeah. Third in the
world.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played. And he hasn't played any hits except, I think, one wild card.
Has he got a patron? Where's his podcast?
I don't know. We don't
Oh.
know. We don't know him.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
trying
well,
to. I know he's not based in. He's from China, but right now I think he's based outside. So I stalked his
I think
profile
he's-
because his profile is easier to stalk than yours, Garf. As
Thanks, mate.
I gave Garf. I told you, I stalk people. I like to get information. So his one was easier to stalk, and I'm approaching him on Facebook. So I'm gonna try and see if we can bring him on.
Okay, I'm excited.
But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah,
That is super. Like, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, it must be different though when you're in the top 10. Every decision you make has to be
on point,
right on the money.
Yeah,
and it has to be
definitely
the same or like to counterbalance the other 9 players in the top 10. Like, surely.
So, like, I think when you're up there, you had to think about effective ownership a lot.
Oh,
a lot.
Like, you would have to have a team full of the most. I don't know.
But
I'd
funny enough about Dia, right? He brought in and played Lanzini for this game week.
Of course he did. Of course. Yeah. He probably captained Gabriel as well 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
How do they do it? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't even know Lanzini was still at West Ham until this week.
No, he came up for Bowen a few times, so that's
no, but that just goes to show, you know, the level of punts these fellas make, you know, and it pays off, you know.
I'm just going to copy his team. Hopefully, I can get into the top 400k.
Simple.
Lord. Anyway, so we digress. Like,
yes,
So
we jump. No problem. Of course. So we jumping in on now. So Leeds 3. Very shocking to see, you know, a big number with Leeds next to it. Leeds 3. It's been a while. Leeds 3. Burnley 1. And Rafinha was not in the mix at all. Shockingly. Because normally you will expect 3 goals scored, at least Rafinha get an assist or something.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, of course, nothing to talk about with the keepers except Hennessy 4 saves. He was pretty busy. We could mix up this one. So, I mean, before we go anywhere, I was in a space last night. There's this female Leeds fan that I am currently stalking in a different sense. And she kept talking about Gerhard. And we have been talking about Gerhard. Antonio, to be specific, one of our crewmates. I can't take credit for that. He has been talking about Gerhard. And she has been bigging him up as well. And I use her as my lead psychic. You know, I pick her brain for advice. And she has been bigging up Gerhard. So he's on my radar. Not yet on my watch list, but he's on my radar. And of course, the usual suspects, James back on the scoring again, Cleach, Harrison, Dallas. So not guys that we'll chase down. Maybe James, but obviously the best asset from Leeds. Yeah, I know. I'm being kind. But the best asset
first
from
goal
Leeds,
of the season.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Dallas's first goal of the season.
That speaks volumes. And Dallas was on fire last season. Huh? He was
for sure. They both were. Like, Harrison had 16 attacking returns last season.
Yeah.
And he's got 1 this year. Like,
I had Dallas last season. So
I think the form, the injuries and COVID has wrecked Leeds season tremendously.
Yep.
I think they had a fit back line for almost the whole season. Like their topics, they didn't really have. They didn't really have it, I would say. So they missed that as well. But if the Gerhard pick, I think he's 4.5 million. He's only, for me, in my opinion, he's an enabler because you only buy him if you have to free up funds up top to buy someone in midfield or another striker, because he's not gonna guarantee 90 minutes, right? He'll only play when Bamford doesn't play, when Rodrigo isn't fit. So if you have him, you're gonna have to be comfortable with the fact that he doesn't play every game or he doesn't play 90 minutes. He may come on for a 1-pointer or a 2-pointer ever so often, but not often enough for you to say, okay, he's gonna be my starting forward in my team.
I think you're right, and I think, like, I've got Gilmore in my team for Norwich at 4.4 million, and then I look at Gerhard and I think, well, if I was the type of manager where I only played 2 up front, I would have Gerhard and I'd have 5 playing midfielders. But because I always try as much as you can. Obviously, COVID doesn't count. I always try and play 3 up front. It's just not an option. So, because like in my simplistic brain, I always try and play the players that are playing furthest forward in the field. I like to have as many of those as possible.
Yeah,
Makes sense. It makes sense.
You know, so but if you are the fruition where you want to play 2 up front and then Gelhart's perfect. So I understand why people are doing it, but again, it's team dependent and the formation that you like to play. I mean, if you've got Antonio and Kane, or you've got Antonio and DCL, then Gelhart probably slides into there quite nicely, because you just play the 2, right, and then you can have 5 midfielders. So but I understand the appeal. I think I got shot down at the beginning of the season when I said Leeds will not offer anything different this season. And they won't. They're not going to surprise anyone. Everyone knows what they're all about.
Correct. And so said Sudan. Yeah.
So I stopped short of saying, second season syndrome, because it's easy to say that, but like just from a football point of view, they just there is no plan B. It's not as if they just roll into a 5 and then a 4 and then 1 up front and then just sort of sit and like play possession and then try and cross things in from the wings. They don't do that. They're like forward,
attack. Yeah,
that's what it is. So I think they're in trouble this year. But we'll see, because there's some pretty bad teams down there.
Still.
So
that's it.
Lucky.
And this was crucial, huh?
This was massive.
This
was
was
a
relegation. This was crucial for them.
This was massive. Correct.
Yeah, this was very crucial. Speaking of crucial, the one time that he's back, he played. He has to go.
He's going again, eh?
He's going again. Speaking of Coney, so we have no one to talk about in Burnley right now. We're tired, put faith in Wood. Sorry, go ahead.
The guy's got a wand. He's got a magic foot.
Yeah.
And and you see him come into the league, and then obviously everyone's a Cornet expert, and everyone, he does this. And didn't have a clue who this guy was.
No,
and to be fair to him, the guy can play. Like
he can sweat. Yeah.
So he's gone off to AFCON now, and he'll do his thing over there. Burnley miss Pope. Just that organisation at the back. And I think it showed in the Leeds game. So I think if Popey comes back then, and Burnley, if they can hit a couple of decent doubles, I'm not too sure what their doubles are, but if they can hit one or two decent doubles, then I wouldn't be against moving for a Taylor.
Super cheap.
But again, it would depend on your team structure, and if you can play it where you rotate one with the other. So I don't know. I don't know what their rotation's like with the other team. I don't know. Perhaps it's a Brighton, or perhaps it's a Southampton. So you could, I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Perhaps it's a Taylor and a Lamptey.
I know for sure Spurs in there, but that was dependent on their that was dependent on one of their cup ties, Spurs cup ties. So that's our next,
So I think you're right. I think obviously like Burnley without Cornet are just not Burnley. So if you find a decent matchup, then I think you can rotate a Burnley defender.
Yeah.
Just as our football prediction, I believe if Burnley goes down, Cornet will go to Tottenham.
Okay. All right.
Solid.
That's a
7:38 p.m. on the 5th of January 2020.
Yeah, 2022.
I think if Burnley goes down, he is going to be hot property for one of these mid-range Premier League sides. They're going to want him badly.
Well, that's what Newcastle is for. But we move on.
If they stay up.
Next up, now this is where I cry, because so Everton 2, Brighton 3. Nothing for Pickford. Sanchez, busy as always. Got 4 saves. We finish off with 2 points. I'm going to go straight to the point. I broke my rule. We have a rule. We have a few rules on this show, Garf. We have a simple rules to live by. Always captain Salah. Repeat rule number 1. Always start Trent Alexander. Repeat rule number 3. I broke rule number 1, and
Me too. I did as well.
I captain Calvert-Lewin.
Oof.
No,
Oh.
so this has
Oof.
been back-to-back game weeks now where my captain has missed penalties. Last week Salah missed a penalty, and then this week Calvert missed. So I'm not even upset. I'm like, all right, cool. But
Wow.
Calvert-Lewin looked great. He did not look a pace off. He looked brilliant. It's just the balls coming. His aim was terrible. I wish Sigmarsson was fit or so. Oh my goodness. Someone needs. Oh my goodness.
No.
Sigurdsson needs it. Oh my goodness.
No. He's not asset anymore. He's dead to us.
He's not.
No, I'm just no. I know. I'm just saying
Yeah.
he needs someone to provide some good ball. It was no man.
Oh yeah, because
this
you're not
guy
supporting
Gordon
Sigurdsson at
tried.
all, you know.
Right? Gordon really tried, but his crosses were terrible. His free kicks were terrible. Hitting the first man, his corners were terrible. Thank God Gordon was greedy on 2 occasions, and that's what helped Everton get those goals because he was greedy. He could have passed the ball on 2 occasions, and he went for the goal.
I think Everton should buy Lingard, but I digress.
Oh yeah, man. That's not a bad show though. That's not. But they need a creative midfielder that can take free kicks. That's what they need right now. Right? They need someone like Payet. How Payet was for West Ham. That's what they need right now. Of course. So I mean, nothing much. The usual suspects didn't perform. No Gray, no Decore.
Yeah.
So Allen came into the assist. Kenny with the assist. Gordon was in immaculate form. He was really, really good. Jumping across the Brighton. Again, the usual suspects. No, just the consistent player so far has been in Wepu. He has been consistent. I think this is 3rd game straight. He has brought back some FPL returns.
Is he going AFCON?
That's a great question.
I'm
Very
not
good.
sure.
I only know about Bissouma. Not sure with him. Of course, Burn in the back scored a goal, but again, not someone I will put as a punt or recommend. McAllister is not someone that we big up. We normally big up Trossard or Mope. Mope would have gotten an assist.
Mhm.
So
Sorry,
yeah, you know,
Bassouma's
go ahead.
gone. Bassouma's
Yeah,
gone.
Bassouma's gone,
I think he's in my AFCON fantasy team, but that's a different topic. Right, we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, Bassouma.
So Garf, right? Do
Yeah.
we jump on the CL train now, or we give him a minute to get back some fitness, or do we jump on it now?
I don't even think it's Tyrone. I know, mate.
I have him, Tyrone. Don't worry, I'm with you there, boys. Stick with him. Purple patch coming.
I think you've got to see that midfield click. It's not even a DCL thing.
No.
Because he's a goal scorer. Okay, he hasn't forgotten where the goal is. He's just crap from 12 yards. I think you need to see. You need to see more from the midfield where they're providing service. And I think we're very lucky that we've got a double game week this week, because I think
another idea to see. Yeah.
I think this week he's going to score, and you're going to see Everton click. For those people that bought in defensive assets for Everton, you have to remember they have the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League playing between the sticks.
I would never recommend defensive assets.
Technically awful.
Yeah, he's terrible. Honestly,
terrible. Like, and they're not playing. Godfrey is a centre back.
Yeah, they're not.
End of story. Like, that is it. He can't play anywhere else. He's a centre back, and until that happens, they're going to leak. So Pickford's got to go, and Godfrey's got to play at centre back, and Michael Keane's got to go because he turns like the Titanic. And and back to the DCL thing. I think if you've got Watkins, they've got a decent run of fixtures coming, so you've backed yourself into a corner there where you're going to have to hold Watkins. Unless he gets injury, because now he's had 2 weeks to get over his COVID. He's going to be back for the next game week. So you back yourself into a corner there. If you've got Antonio, you can't really argue with what he's doing at the moment.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you can squeeze a DCL in as your third striker, then great. But that means you've got 3 strikers there between 7.5 million and 8 million. So it's going to affect your team. I don't think you have to be first on the DCL train. Like, if you see him this week, if he does nothing this week, if he gets a goal next week in next game week 22.
22. Yeah.
Then great. I think you consider him after that, but I don't think. I think you can wait a week.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. If he goes and bangs 3 in this, like in the
and he's going to, he is going to hat trick central, hat trick.
Let me just put my hand up and said I bought Everton asset defensively just as a punt because I don't know how to get a feeling about Coleman.
Yeah,
you know, I just did it. You know,
Right.
I just wanted to try something different. So I hope he supplies some assists to this year's goals. If that happens,
Not
right?
bad.
To be fair to
but
Coleman,
missing Deacon too. Yeah.
From a football point of view, he played really well.
Yeah.
Like
that's why I was hoping
he played well, and did the right things in the right spots. But they've just bought 2. They just bought 2 fullbacks.
Yes. I want to talk about that.
Yes.
Mylenko and Patterson.
And
So
I think Mylenko plays as a left back, so he'll be replacing Digne. And I don't know if Patterson. He plays on both sides of the defense.
Yeah.
Both
Digne's
right and left.
gone. I think he's gone.
Yeah, Digne's gone. Yeah, he's gone. Definitely.
Tyrone, I bought Keane. Had a feeling about a header. Tyrone, you bought Keane in for the same reason that people bought Dawson.
People buy Dawson. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
For that thunder header that never happened.
Those punts, guys. Those punts.
To be fair, though, I'm defending Calvert-Lewin. Brighton defended their socks off, and it wasn't even to say it was a lot. They were under a lot of pressure. They were just so organized. Everything coming to DCL, he was blocked. He was under a lot of pressure. It's only when Rondon,
big bodies in the back.
That's it. When Rondon came on, I'm not big enough Rondon ever at all. I'm just saying when Rondon came, he just did a CF role of pulling at least 2 guys to him, and then DCL had a little room, to at least touch the ball a little bit. But to be fair to him, but next game, no, hat trick. Tyrone, don't worry about it. Hat trick next week. We bad. This week, this game coming here, we bad. We real bad. Don't worry about that. Right? Don't worry about that. Cool.
If I was Benitez, and he really has, while you move on to the next one, he's got nothing to lose. I would play Rondon and DCL.
Yes.
Because for the exact reason, like you say, Rondon he's never going to score. Gabe, I know you love him, but he's not going to score. He just occupies bodies.
Yeah.
And he'll pin someone and let DCL go.
And I think that's Benitez's blueprint as well, right? He's had success before at Newcastle playing somebody with Callum Wilson, right? He had success with Liverpool with Torres up top with I think it was Dirk Kuyt. So he had success before playing this way. Why not go back to that way again with DCL and Rondon?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, a few teams that when they not to be too long, but when Leicester in the early when they were struggling a little bit, when they put Iheanacho and Vardy together, it was helping instead of bringing them. It was helping.
We spoke about this at length before. Rogers has been making mistakes tactically for a while now by not playing Iheanacho enough. I personally think because he's been underusing him.
Yep.
But
I agree.
I'm getting paid the big money to be a coach, right?
Exactly. Next up, and this I wasn't even shocked. I'm not surprised by this score. Brentford 2, Aston Villa 1. So Fernandez coming into his own. He's no Raya, but coming into his own. 4 saves, 3 points. Of course, Martinez has not been the Martinez that we've known for a while now, right? But no save points there for him. Not a bad game, Garf, and not a bad result for Brentford, but of course, not the usual asset scoring. Now, funny enough, Sham, you were big enough Wissa. You know, we like Wissa.
Yeah,
but not as an asset, but we always talk about him, right?
Because of his name. Everyone loves his name.
Yeah. I was in a few spaces, like a few weeks ago with Dano and a few of the usual suspects, and I was big enough Wissa. I was saying not as an asset necessarily. But seeing as Tony and Mbeumo on the decline, these are the guys that will come up and step up and get the goals. And so said, so done. I don't know much about this Roslev guy. I won't lie to
He's
you
just
all,
a
but I
backup,
mean,
fullback for them.
back up because of
Yeah,
Henry, I believe. Yes, he would have
yeah,
probably replaced him. But not too bad from Brentford's standpoint. I mean, there's no one to recommend. We not every team you could get asset from. The Tony
yeah.
train is
True.
has come in. The Mbemba
It's
train has
crashed.
come
It has
in.
crashed.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do that to you
yeah,
guys at all. But on the Aston Villa side now, of course, no Watkins, Ink Scepter, but again, I won't put Ings as an asset. Maybe I had McGinn, right? McGinn and Watkins on my team. So when Watkins got dumped for the mystery, whatever happened there, Martinelli came on for me. Um so yeah, anybody first to discuss quickly from these two teams? I mean, like
yeah.
besides Ollie Watkins, really?
You have Ollie, you have Ings. These are their goal scorers, and they do score goals. Steven Gerrard has them playing well. When they is coming in his own a bit, but I see Aston Villa looking to get Coutinho on board, right? So if Coutinho comes in, that's a next factor to think about because he does score goals in the Premier League. He never should have left the Premier League in the first place, but he left, right? But he's a Premier League player. He loves to score goals in the Premier League. He will score goals in the Premier League again, right? When he gets a team that plays him and has faith in him. Aston Villa cash on target again. We like those fullbacks. I don't know if they double in game 22. I'm not too sure, but they are a good side. You could definitely pick up some assets from them if you're looking for some players. But that's just me, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree, and I think if you've got Watkins, keep an eye on Coutinho, obviously, because he's world class.
Yeah.
But and you spoke there about targeting cash. Pick one of them and go with it, and you can ride him till like the beginning of March. They've got Everton, Leeds, Newcastle, Watford, Brighton, Southampton. So you know, probably more chance of a couple of clean sheets there than a couple of attacking assets. Because they will have to do some defending against the likes of Watford and Brighton and Southampton, where they get pushed back as fullbacks. But there's definitely clean sheet potential in there. So if you've got a Rudiger at 6 million and you can ship him off for cashy for like 5 million, and then you can move that million into midfield, it's a bit of a no-brainer, especially with Chelsea blanking. So I think the obvious are the obvious, and we don't need to talk about the rest.
Agree. Fully agree. And of course, so we have here Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2.
Amazing.
Brilliant game.
What a game.
Except for the last 5 minutes. But yes, after that, the first 95 minutes were 85 minutes were amazing. This game was mad.
It had everything in it.
Yeah.
So
I think it was the Liverpool game to lose and they lost it, in my opinion.
They were.
We threw it away. They
threw it away. They really did. Especially
I agree.
I think
they did everything
Henderson
right.
And Milner had a poor game.
Who did?
Henderson and Milner.
Oh my god!
Poor. Terrible.
Of all the games that they had to play well together as a unit, like they just completely fell apart. And Kovacic and Kante were in there, and they just had a field day after those. And once those two get their momentum, they're very hard to stop because they just play on a different level. Especially especially with age against Milner and Henderson. Obviously, they're not fledgling anymore, are they? So they just needed a little bit of composure in there. And they did. Like obviously, they missed Matip, they missed Virgil van Dijk. Leaders from the back, and it's not so much their defensive quality, although obviously they're very good defenders. It's just their organisation. I think in that spine. And Henderson and Milner got caught a couple of times, sort of wandering. A little bit like McTominay does for Man United. He just sort of goes on what you're doing, man. But so a little bit. I think it was discipline and organisation that beat Liverpool. They beat themselves rather than Chelsea.
Totally agree.
Totally
agree.
Which is
I thought
unusual for Liverpool.
should have been hooked off at halftime, and Keita should have came on halftime. She can bring some fresher legs to the team, you know.
Yeah.
Get
Naby's a
get some
baller
just
as
change it
well.
up. Yeah.
Naby's a baller. Like, he loves
Yeah,
it.
he is. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just, I would play him all the time. I love him, but
Yeah. Me too.
that's up to Klopp, isn't it?
So as a Liverpool fan, I was kind of disappointed in this game from a losing perspective. Like, we just lost the game. We didn't lose the game, we drew, right? But we lost the game. They lost the 3 points. And kind of gave City that advantage that they shouldn't be having, because they already have such a lead already. So
yeah,
Mm.
that was a big one.
So of course we have to discuss the elephant in the room. So we can't. It doesn't make sense discussing Chelsea because we getting rid of them. We fed up of them. And of course the blank game is coming up, so we'll give them a little break, right? No, we getting rid of. No, we should have gotten rid of Reese 4 weeks ago, Sham, because I've been. I keep telling Sham for past 4 weeks, every week. I get rid of him and then I keep him. I'm getting rid of this time. Nope. And I keep waited. I should have gotten rid of him when I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you still got him now?
No. Got rid of that long time. But actually, I lie. No. Yes, he is on my other teams. Yes, my main team is still on my bench. So I have to get rid of him. Yes. I have to get rid of him. Because I got rid of some other people instead. But we won't touch too much on Chelsea. We'll wait till game 22 comes and we'll see what goes on there for 23. We won't touch on them, but we have to talk about Salah. Are we dropping Salah? Oh no, we touched on it a little bit. Are we dropping Salah? And if we are dropping Salah, who do we keep? And if we drop in Salah, do we keep the other guys around? For now, all of us have Trent. Do we have faith and trust that they can still do things without Salah?
Come on.
Talk to me. I just posing questions.
Come on. If you have Trent, why would you ever sell him?
Let's be honest. I just asked.
Right? That's my honest opinion. Don't do it. Don't sell him on.
Correct.
He will take on more responsibility attacking wise. Now Salah has gone. So I do expect Trent to show up in the midfield a bit more and getting more goals and assists.
Free kicks.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
While Salah's gone. I personally have a very interesting take on this Salah situation in terms of I actually may not sell him. Depending on how the fixtures are released, I may not sell him. I may free hit 22, hold for 1 game week, and then bring him back. And then
because you have the 2 free transfers. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Same thing I'm thinking. Yeah.
So I'll hold him for the game week 23, and then he should be back in time for the Leicester game, right?
Right.
Depending on how far Egypt goes.
But
that's my thinking as of now. If the fixtures release and I don't have enough double game week players playing or whatever, maybe I would free hit and keep Salah and have him in my team moving forward. I won't sell him. That's my thinking so far.
That's my same plan. Free hit, keep the 2 free transfers, bring him in, bap. Yeah.
That's fair. It's again, obviously we spoke about team dependency. It is team dependent. I don't think if he gets to the final, I don't think he's going to be back for 24, eh?
Nah, he won't be back. If Egypt gets to the final, he won't be back.
And interesting you should talk about Trent there. I think they might play Trent instead of Salah and go Trent, Ox, and Jota as a 3 because then I can move Gomez in at right back, and I can you can do things. So
that's something,
that's just my way of thinking. Just watching, and obviously Naby's gone, so they're gonna have to go Hendo and Milner, and Jones.
Well, Curtis is back, right?
So those 3, Milner, Henderson, and Jones as a 3, because Jones can't really play. He can't play forward. He's not forward.
He's not forward now.
And Firmino isn't back. Is back? Is injured?
I think he's isolating right now from COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Trent playing up front.
I actually would comment and say I won't be surprised if I see Trent playing right center midfield
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
what, and
because
have
he has
Curtis Jones and Henderson.
right,
Yeah.
and then use Minamino as a winger with Oxen and Jota. I think right now in an FPL standpoint, moving away from the tactics and stuff,
Yeah.
Jota is key to your FPL side at the moment because I think a lot of stuff will pass through him for a Liverpool point aspect. So he's going to be key for FPL side. If you have him, I won't sell because Liverpool has good fixtures coming up. If you don't have him, I will consider getting him in replace of Salah if you're trying to move on Salah
But
as another left field option.
as a Liverpool fan, Shamir,
Yeah.
so no Mane, no Salah, right? Now,
Yeah.
barring those crazy tactics you all just proposed, which I like, right? What
Yeah.
would be the regular replacement there that Klopp will do in
So
this scenario?
right now
Regular.
in terms of injuries and stuff, barring injuries and stuff, if we had no injuries, he would honestly go Jota, Firmino, Minamino, right? Or
Okay.
Origi, because he
Right.
plays better on the wings as a striker, right? And that would be his normal movement. And then keep Ox away from that false nine and play him as a 8. And have Fabinho and Henderson there with him, or Thiago, Fabinho, and Jones is my ideal 3 at the moment, without Naby. And then play Minamino on the left or the right, Jota on the left, and Firmino up top, right? And that'd be in his normal tactics, his normal way of thinking. But with COVID and stuff, I'm not too sure how he'll operate. I expect some youth men to get some sweat. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so
But Jota
last
is
but
key. Jota is key.
all right, we'll pick it up. Jota is key. I like that. So last but certainly not least, Garf, we'll let you take away this one away. Of course, your team played Wolves at home. They here
This will be
busy,
very quick.
very
Go on,
quick. They
carry
here
on.
5 saves, right? So no save points, but of course the clean sheets he got a yellow, but that's all right. I can forgive him. My boy, sir. Right? So Garf, now despite the result, of course, I know you'll watch your team. You'll know better than us. You have more insight. Despite the result, is there anyone that makes sense buying from Manchester United at all? Forget game week 22, 23. Right.
David De Gea's your only pick. Other than that, we're broken from front to back. Broken, done. There's no smoke without fire, and the reports coming out of the change room and out of the media and out of this, that, and the other. And every man and his dog has got an opinion on what the players are saying and what they're not saying. We are broken, and that is the end of the story. And it's a pretty sad state of affairs. So I'm not sure from an asset point of view. Obviously, it's an FPL podcast. So from an asset point of view, it is David De Gea and it is nobody else. Because the boys aren't playing for each other. 4-2-2-2 is not unless you've worked on that in the summer and you've had pre-season and you've had the lads for like 6 weeks doing it. That's not a thing.
Yeah, that's a FIFA formation, not real life.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. You can't walk into a club and go, well, this has worked for me in the past. Oh, really? Because you've only managed 2 teams in the past, I'm pretty sure. You've been upstairs at Spartak Moscow for the last 18 months. So, and then he's walked into a 4-2-2-2, and it's not a thing. So until you see a formation where you either have Rashford playing in the hole or you have Greenwood playing in the hole, and you have Coutinho playing on the left, and you have Pogba. Yep, Coutinho, and then Pogba in the middle. Until you see that, it's not a thing. It's not a thing.
If Ralph had West Ham's midfield, I think that 4-2-2.
Well, they're talking about 100 million for Declan Rice.
Yeah.
100 million.
So Garf, you think it's both the players and managers' fault, or is it just one or the other?
I think it's both.
Hasn't worked out.
I think tactically he's got it wrong. It's just wrong. Tactically, it's just wrong. You can't force that formation against another team, especially when they're playing Wolves, who are defensively well organised. And You know, they've got João Moutinho, they've got Neves. You know, these aren't mugs.
Yeah.
Like they can,
Yeah.
they know their way around.
Yeah.
And you're playing
Yeah.
McTominay and Matic. Now, Matic can't move. Like he's like the guy can't. He's a pylon. And McTominay will hide. If you actually watch McTominay, he spends a lot of time behind the opposition. When we're in possession of the ball, he'll spend a lot of time behind the opposition, or when he's trying to play, he'll always come from like around or behind an opposition player, and it's very frustrating. So yeah, and the players now, because they're being asked to do something a little bit different, and because the training and the coaching is a little bit different at Carrington on the training field, they're in the mindset of, well, this isn't work. This is different. This isn't working. And it's just fun. It's just fundamentally just wrong all the way around, like from top to bottom. And we haven't even talked about the Glazers. That's whatever. That's a different podcast.
Yeah.
But technically, the players obviously have the ability, but what they're being asked to do tactically,
right,
they're not used to, and they don't see it working. So it's a flawed. The whole thing's flawed. I'm looking forward to pre-season, getting a full-time manager in where we can start doing, and we'll see where we go. But I think this season, if we finish 6th, it's a good season, and we'll move on to the next one. So
well, I mean, as a Liverpool fan, I love what I've seen so far, right?
Mate, I bet you are.
Yeah. But as a footballing fan, for you guys, just looking at your perspective, I definitely see some concerns on a FPL side as well. I was really hoping to get something more out of Rashford as a FPL asset.
Yeah,
because
he's the one.
Because
he was honestly the one I thought it was going to be.
He had the potential to live up to this formation and make it his own, playing up top with Ronaldo on a 4-4-2-2-2, right?
Yeah,
I really was hoping he'd have done some wonders up there, but like you say, it is not mesh so far. So until they do get that mesh, like you mentioned,
you can
no
avoid
assets from Man U.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Wolves, on the other hand,
of course, yes. Sorry.
They're organised. I mean, they got Southampton, Brentford, Arsenal, Spurs, and Leicester.
Food.
Yeah, that's good games. Good games.
I think they're decent games. I don't think you touch any of the front 6, but I'd be quite happy to go. I'll be quite happy to go with anyone at the back.
Yes.
And then obviously you got Jose Sarr is Jose Sarr. So, and we've talked to him about him before early on in the pod. So I think defensively they're well organised. I don't know if they can hit a double. They probably can. I think
they could. I think they could.
Yes, they might. Yeah.
I think you can easily get a Wolves defender in on a good rotation. Even if you didn't want to play him against Spurs, you could get him on a rotation with someone else and drop him to the bench and move someone else in. So, yeah.
So I think only want to note, I'm not sure if Marcel went. No, he's Brazilian. He went.
No, Saiz went. Yes, he went. Yes, Saiz.
Right. But it's good to know that if Nouri is back and fit,
he is back.
I'm not sure which allegiance he's pledged to, whether it's African, I think it's Algeria, Morocco, or France, right? But if he is playing in the EPL, he'll play as a left wing back and Marcel move into the middle. Because I don't foresee them bringing back Bolly into the mix.
Bolly went.
He went to AFCON as well.
Yeah,
right?
he went to AFCON as well.
I think Marcel will fall into the left centre back side and in replay left wing back. And if that is the case, is my pick from Wolves.
All right, that's a good show.
He's 4.3 and 0.6% owned. If you can get Nouri on a run,
because
he's done it.
I rate him very highly. Yeah, he's good. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
He's basically a regular type player. He runs non-stop and he's good defensively. So,
do you know why he hasn't played the last 3?
I think he was either COVID or injury.
Because he's not flagged anymore.
He's back. No, he's back. He's back for this.
He was flagged recently.
Yeah, he was injured. He was injured. Yeah, so he's back now.
I think he goes straight. I think you're right. He goes straight back into the team. That's an easy swap.
Yeah.
And then at 4.3. If you've got Livramento at 4.2,
Yes.
that's an
My
absolute
exact thing,
no-brainer.
Yeah.
Get him in.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So of course,
But
guy, we'll
before we
go
move
ahead,
on,
go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Only thing I would say about Livramento is Southampton is due to double at some point very soon. So I may not jump away from Livramento just yet,
Yeah.
dependent on the doubling. If you have him and he doubles, don't move him. If he doesn't double, he's a good option to move on.
I really need him to play this week. I think I'm looking at my phone. I think he's still flagged, and it says
Yeah,
knee
he's still
injury.
flagged, yeah.
Knee injury, 75% chance
Yeah.
of playing. Well,
Yeah.
I really need you to play because otherwise I've got Gilmore coming on. So not ideal.
All right, so what we'll do, we'll round off the app with some fun, of course. So what I'll bite the bullet real quickly. We already discussed it a bit, so let me do this real quickly. Garf, I would like to put you on the spot one time. Can we book you for next week? Same time, same day next week. Please go ahead. We can discuss the ending of the double game week and discuss the preview of game week 22. Can we book you one time?
Absolutely,
I know it's
mate.
in the future, but I mean, once you're free, right? Right.
Yeah.
I'll of course talk to you on Twitter.
You kind of make it hard for him to say no, eh?
Yeah, I mean that's what on the spot is.
Yeah, you kind of make it hard for him. Poor guy.
I'm gonna just show you how terrible my decisions were this week. So of course the only good decisions was having Sa, Cody, Reguilon, and Trent. Of course, nothing wrong with having Cancelo, it just wasn't his day. Bowen, whew, right? Bernardo, few. Salah, of course, I did not captain him. I put the V, not the C. McGinn, right? No Watkins. I captain Calvert-Lewin. And well, of course, I would get 2 points from Martinelli when they finally bring him on for me. But live
You have some
FPL would
flaws
have.
in our team, boy.
Yeah. Ignore that. But so my game plan moving forward, as I would have told you, as we discussed just now with the whole Salah scenario, I am thinking of not of keeping my 2 free transfers. I will free hit, maybe bring in KDB and stuff, rearrange some things, bring in cheaper defenders. I'll keep regular on Trent, of course. We bring in a cheaper defender. Maybe not keep Cancelo. Go for some cheaper guys that are doing well so far. Maybe not too sure on that one yet. Of course, keep Bowen, and will of course replace Salah with KDB. Bring in a few other fillers here, and of course keep Calvert Lewin, depending on what happens this week. Right? And of course, I was very bold and I said once Calvert-Lewin returns, I will play 3 Everton guys. So depending on what goes on, Gray and Ducouré may be back in my team, right? So, right, that could be something that happens very soon, right? Let me bring up me real quickly.
Will you lose one of those free transfers
I think so.
when you
would.
free hit?
I think he would. If we have 2 free transfers now, we're into 22. He'll lose 1.
Yeah, I'll lose
and
one.
remain on 2.
Remain on
for game week 23.
For the following 23. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So unfortunately for him, he'll lose a free transfer.
Yeah, that's just how it
And
works.
even if he does transfer in a player now, when he does free hit, it will cancel off.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, not too bad. I mean, I just
That's
thinking
why
of doing.
I used my 2 transfers. I actually only had 1. That's why I played my transfer this game week and then roll it to get 2 for the free hit eventually. This is my team. I have Ramsdale from since whenever.
Ever.
I brought in Reguilon for Alonso recently. Have Cancelo for a while now. Trent for a long time. I brought in Coleman for James as a punt. Low ownership, pretty cheap. I didn't want to bring in Sufal, right? I knew West Ham would have conceded. So that's what I didn't bring him in. I brought in Coleman. I could have brought somebody else. I brought in Coleman as a punt. He was doubling.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. I captain Bowen because he plays 2 games instead of 1 against Norwich, being one of them. So I had to captain him.
That was his smarter captain. Yeah.
Right? I have Jota for a while now. He's the Messiah. He's important. Son is my vice captain for this game week. Pretty good return. Salah, like mentioned, I'll have him until I can't have him again. I have Watkins instead of Antonio. That move happened number 3 game weeks ago. unfortunately for me, Antonio is better right now, but I can't do anything about that. Broja, whoever pronounce that, still can't get it right. He is my enabler in a sense, and he plays against a Brentford side who's conceding, so I'm hoping for some stuff from him. Bernardo comes off the bench. Livramento, and King was on the bench as well. So as my team, I have some plans. Free hitting going to depend on the fixtures. Once the fixtures released, I'll free hit, and I'll
Have
know
you
who's
got
coming
both
in.
your free hits still?
Yeah, I've voted mine already.
Okay.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to play it in 19, but I left and said there's gonna be a better chance of me moving rank in 22 than 19.
Yeah.
Because everybody would have played theirs in 19 already, and I would have held mine for 22, so I can make more use of the double game weeks for that free hit.
Yep.
So that's my plan in terms of strategy for free hit. So I'm gonna free hit 22, hold Salah for 1 game week, play him again in 24 once he does return, if he does, and probably wildcard later in the season. I think around 29 and 30 around there. And then free hit sometime after and bench boost. I think Salah doubles sometime soon against the Leeds and Norwich, something like that. At some point,
Yes. A lot of people
I
talking about that.
may
Yeah.
definitely
29?
triple captain.
Triple
I think
captain.
so.
Triple
I may
captain. Yep.
I may triple captain him for that.
He's gonna. His effective ownership is going to be like 295%.
Yeah. Yeah.
It,
So
it might
that's
be the
my
game week
future
to.
plans here.
You might
Yeah.
have to triple captain Trent that week.
Yeah.
Oh, to kind of be differential, yeah.
Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
or Jota or
I
Mane
think
or something. Yeah.
I think but looking forward to the future, I definitely want to try to get second playing keeper. So I'm looking at a 4.5 million keeper to get in at some point, whether I wild card him in or not.
Yeah.
But that's a luxury transfer in a sense.
For
Won't
sure.
rush for that yet. I
No.
think I'll do that for when I bench boost.
Right. Well, I mean, so quickly, Garf, what's your plans now? I mean, we'll talk about this next week, of course, and more in depth. But what's it based on what happened so far for this game week? Any plans? Anybody that catch your eye right now, or you're still waiting out? The game
Still
week?
waiting. Like Ben Krellin, obviously, is the GOAT, and people have been making moves and doing this, that, and then it's like you can't do it. You can't do it. I don't understand how you can do anything until we know, right? Like what you're killing yourself.
Yeah.
So it's just a real wait and see for me. I do have Ramsdale. I have Antonio as captain this week, so I need him to go off to get some points back. I've still got Raf. I'm going to hold Raf. I've got Salah. So Salah's my biggest headache. Not headache, but I've just got. I need to know the direction I'm going to go. Do I get rid of them and bring him back? If you do get rid of Salah and bring in a midfielder like Son or Foden, you really have to be disciplined to make sure that you've got the money to bring Salah back in.
Because you could wait. That could be 2 weeks you're struggling without him. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you either keep the money in the bank or you have 2 free transfers to do that move. Because he's still going to be expensive. I mean, what is he now? Is he still 12.9?
He's 12.8 right now.
He dropped to 12.8.
I don't know if his price dropped again.
It dropped. No, not yet. Not again, but
Okay. But he's 12.8 right now.
Yeah. And he's 13.0 in AFCON fantasy, but that's a different topic. But guys, we're winding up now. As I mentioned, the AFCON fantasy on purpose. Now, of course, we have some league codes below, and we are covering the fantasy. We had an episode yesterday. Introducing it and previewing it. We did a live selection pick yesterday, so you'd have seen we'd have give you some really good ideas, some good puns. There are a lot of great players to pick from, I must say. It is not at all a game where you can just auto pick. I mean, auto pick if you want, but the prices are ridiculous one, so it will be very tricky to have both Mane and Mahrez or both Salah, Mane, any one of the 3. You have to pick one and then fill in the rest, or you pick 2 and then auto pick. But there's so much options that auto picking. You don't bound to. You have Haller, you have guys like not you have keep Mendy, of course, as a keeper. You have Koulibaly. So there's a lot of great options to pick from. I will be on the first. I'll be on the channel called First XI. We'll be doing some previews and watch alongs this weekend. And of course, I am back in Mali, so hoping Mali that they had a great record in the qualifiers. So I'm hoping that they could push through. I'll be sharing around the code on Twitter, and the code is down below, of course. So check us out on the watch alongs and the previews. And of course, I'll be doing a lot of preview shows of the fantasy component, of course, and trying to give you all the best tips and ideas. Garf, thanks again for coming on. Thanks for taking your time. What time is it now in Canada? About what, 2 hours behind?
It's 8:20 p.m.
Dang.
Okay. How cold
So,
is it?
How cold?
How cold?
Let's have a little quick look, shall we? Because
Yeah, everything like minus degrees these days.
I don't know. Can we do that?
Oh, wow. Well,
and that's without the wind chill. So today we got down to about minus 34, minus 35.
damn.
Wow.
Tonight at tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. it's going to be minus 34 without the wind chill. So we're going to hit minus 40 tomorrow.
Well, Gav, first, it's Christmas time here, right? So December time, right? So sometimes it gets a bit, nothing like that, of course.
Yeah.
It gets a bit chilly in Trinidad.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it has been colder than usual. And I live on a hill, right?
Okay.
And I'm telling you, Gav, it has been. Last night it was 17, right? No, that doesn't sound, was not bad for you. That's great weather.
That's
summer weather, right?
That's warm
summer
weather. Yeah.
But Gav,
17.
Gav, I could not sleep last night. I am telling you,
it was awful.
It was terrible because it was breezy, and as I said, I live on a decent height, so the breeze was just blasted.
Gotta give man some context. Normally we're accustomed to 30 degrees.
Yeah,
35 is our normal temp. 16
Amazing.
is ridiculous for us, nippy.
Yeah, so to get 17 at night, Gav, trouble.
Yeah, it's nippy.
Right. Yeah.
I'd have a t-shirt on. I'd be like, here we go, lads.
Right.
But yeah, I got 2 foot of snow outside.
Oh my goodness.
If you ever want a white Christmas, just all you got to do is ring me. Like come and have a white Christmas, because it's like, all the time.
I have plans. I really want to come to Canada, but not rushing. I really don't want to rush the experience.
Wait until the summer, mate. Wait until
especially
the
the right. So of course, guys, thanks so much for your patience. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Awesome.
We just wanted to, give some context, give some ideas what we're thinking about. So of course, next week we'll be back. We'll talk about the 3 games that played off, and then we'll try and preview as best as possible. Hopefully by then we'll have some more ideas of what's going on. If there's any double game is coming up, we know for sure that Arsenal had a few rearrangements, so they will be playing the Carabao Cup game, the first leg next week, and then of course there'll be a Spurs game. So they're playing 2 games in about 43 hours, so that'll be a little tricky for them. But not making excuses. But of course, Garf, thanks. As you know, we like to always end off the show with just a bit of solid advice. Now, there's nothing that we can do really. You can't pick anybody, do anything. But what's just one solid piece of advice that you give, FPL advice, that you normally use for your own stuff? Something simple. It could be simple or something very grand.
No, not very grand. It's very simple. It's when you look at your team, if you're trying to make a free transfer and you look at your team, if you can't see anything obvious to transfer, don't transfer it. Don't do it. Don't force a transfer because there's power in carrying that FT over. Just don't force a transfer. If it doesn't look right, it's not right. So that's what I tell everyone. I'm
clipping this. This is going on Twitter. Yes, that is brilliant visible. Show me your closing remarks before you bounce out.
Don't do anything until you know the fixtures. That's my piece of advice for Gaming 22. Just if you're feeling, like you want to do something, hold your hands like this and just do so, right? And just don't do anything. Just do anything. Just keep it pretty simple. Watch your content, soak in as much as you could soak in. Pass your time. Watch some AFCON, have some fun.
Yes.
Don't make any moves until fixtures are announced. That's my main piece of advice.
I like that. Well, my advice is, if you're missing Salah, play some AFCON fantasy. As I said, the codes are below, right? Check us out. Right. So Garf, I just want to thank you so much for coming through. Thank you very much for taking the time. Right,
It's
so
been
hopefully
awesome.
next week we'll see you next week. And of course, Samir, our Liverpool expert, thanks for coming through, guys. Again, thanks for all the comments, thanks for the likes. We had 160 subs. We're on the road to 200, trying to push it. Thanks so much for the support and help. Continue smashing that like button. And of course, for those who play in the AFCON fantasy, my biggest piece of advice: click that save button. Please click that save button. Do not forget to click that save button. All right, guys, and as usual, happy picking and all the best. We'll see you all next week. Take care.